Hello, friends. Welcome to the You're Entitled to Your Opinion podcast. My name is Gordon Duncan, and this podcast covers all things genre, horror movies, sci fi, action novels, things that are a little bit left of mainstream. And we give you my opinion and we bring on guests. We have three guests lined up in the next month. I can't wait to bring them on. But right now, I want to invite you to be a part of the larger Capitalize Your Best podcast network. On Mondays, we have the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, which is about making a better you. On Tuesdays, we have the Coach Training Partners podcast, which is about helping coaches grow their revenue and create programs. On Wednesday, we have the Capitalize Your Best program, which is about growing your business and your marketing. At the moment, we don't have a Thursday podcast, but we do have a live 11 a.m. coaching call. And then on Fridays, we have the You're Entitled to Your Opinion podcast. So, friends, let me just jump right into it. I watched The Substance. Now, I watched it with Emma. Not possible to get her on here, but I'm definitely sharing her thoughts with you. The Substance was a horror movie that came out in 2024, and it is body horror. And I cannot do this review without sharing spoilers. So if you've not seen it, all I can tell you at this moment is if you like body horror, this is it, and it's going to freak you out. Body horror is, of course, mutations. Think classic movies like The Fly, that kind of thing. Very squeamish. If you can't handle it, then if you can't handle that kind of horror, then you're not going to enjoy The Substance. It's funny. I was at Starbucks the other day, and the baristas had some downtime, and there was one barista who was like, "You can't tell me a horror movie I haven't seen yet." And I said, "Well, I just saw The Substance last night. I'm assuming you've seen it." And she went, "Oh, no, I can't watch body horror," which is kind of funny. And there was another barista who was like, "I love body horror. The Substance is amazing." But Emma and I watched this 2 nights ago. And I'm just going to tell you, this movie is BS crazy, just insane. The premise is, and by the way, the casting on this movie is phenomenal. So Demi Moore plays an aging actress. Now, she has an Oscar, she's got a star on the Walk of Fame, and she's aging. Now she's doing a fitness show, and she is struggling to keep up. She has a very creepy producer played by Dennis Quaid. He's played in a very exaggerated manner, sort of almost like a Hunger Games character. Like he's one of the people who's watching it, and he's in the main city of the Hunger Games. Like it's very just exaggerated, a lot of close-ups, weird outfits. But Demi Moore is struggling. She is aging, and she knows she's aging, and she finds out she's going to lose her show. She accidentally overhears a story from a bathroom stall, and she's like, "I'm going to lose my show." She feels like perhaps she's losing her beauty, and the whole movie is based upon a commentary on societal standards placed on women. And I'm going to leave the wiser commentary of that to others who are more experienced in it. But I'm going to say that the movie brilliantly shows the pressures that are placed society-wise on beauty. And she doesn't know what she's going to do. And she gets an invitation to try The Substance. And it's very unclear. She makes a phone call, and she winds up picking up a drug. And there's very clear instructions that come with it. Well, they're very clear instructions, but they don't make any sense in the context of what to do. It is a step A, B, and C. So she winds up taking The Substance. And then there is a horrifying scene in her bathroom where her back rips open, and another woman appears whose name is Sue. Now, Sue is played by Margaret Qualley, who, forgive me if I mispronounced her name. She is the young girl in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from Manson's ranch that is hitting on Brad Pitt. And she looks sort of like a younger Demi Moore. Not exactly, but they're very similar. And she has emerged out of Demi Moore's back. It's very disgusting. And then she has to, after the shock is, when she has the shock, she realizes, okay, here's what I got to do. So she sews Demi Moore back up, and then she has to give her an IV drip of drugs. And then she extracts from her spine a fluid that she injects in herself. And she is beautiful and vibrant. And she goes and gets the job to be the new host of the fitness show, and she is loved and adored. And she all of a sudden has this new career. And there's an emphasis over and over again from the people who run the substance. Don't make the confusing that there's two of you. There's one of you. There's Elizabeth and Sue, but you're the same. You are. And that gets played out over and over again. But there's a time period: 7 days as Sue, 7 days as Elizabeth. And so when that happens, they have to go back. They have to switch the IV drip, and then after a week, it's Elizabeth again. And so she has a life. But the challenge is Elizabeth is enjoying being Sue more than she's enjoying being Elizabeth, because of course, as Sue, she's loved and adored. And there's an interesting subplot where Elizabeth wants to go out on a date to be adored by a fan who is also like an old person from high school. And the pressure of it's so great, she just never makes it. Like she's like, who will adore me? And she finds this guy, and she never makes it to the date. Well, in the swapping back and forth, what happens is Sue doesn't want to swap back after 7 days. And you can tell this is going to happen. Let me have a sip of my coffee. And so Sue goes a little longer. And eventually, when the switchback happens, because there's just not enough drugs and everything for, I mean, like the only way to do that is for Sue to continue to extract spinal fluid. And there's just not enough food for Elizabeth. So they eventually have to switch back. But what happens anytime that occurs is like Elizabeth starts to deteriorate. Like you see in her hands start getting creepy and very like horror wrinkly, right? Like almost like a claw. And when Elizabeth goes to complain, the people of substance is like, listen, there's not two of you, there's one of you. So there's this ongoing struggle back and forth. Well, whenever Elizabeth is on her own, she just eats and eats and she trashes the place. And Sue comes back and she's mad. And so they're fighting each other. Well, this is going to lead up to a culmination. And the culmination is that Sue is given the prime gig of hosting New Year's Eve. And Elizabeth doesn't want to give up, and she's getting more old and more wrinkly. And so Sue extends it way too far, way too far. And Elizabeth is getting horrific. But all of a sudden, there's this moment where Sue is falling apart, and it's that because it's taking a toll on both of them, and Sue is running out of spinal fluid. And right before the New Year's Eve show, she starts to lose her teeth. And there's this creepy scene where she's pulling out her teeth, and she can't go on stage like that. And her teeth are falling out. Well, she winds up running back. And the final act is another creature emerges. And it's this horrific, they call it like Elizabeth Sue. I mean, like a Monsto Elizabeth Sue. It's like this horrific hunchback combination of the two of them with multiple heads and arms, and and so that creature then puts on the dress, shows up for the New Year's celebration, and there is this scene at the end where blood goes everywhere. I mean, there's like this explosion of the combination creature, and it's just like blood and blood and blood, and everyone is sprayed. And it's like the director is punishing the people who have the expectation of the beauty, and they are being punished, and they're being punished by seeing the sight and being covered in blood. And ultimately Sue, the Monsto Sue Elizabeth creature, is shattered into multiple pieces, and a bit of it crawls to the star in Hollywood, and has a little bit of a face, and a street cleaner just drives over and cleans her away as if she never existed. And there's just it's amazing that this movie was nominated for Oscars. I mean, it's so horrifically body horror, but it has so much to say. The director, I mean, I looked it up on IMDb. I mean, it was a woman who directed, and I think it was so wise on that. It's her script. I mean, she wrote it, she directed it, and I can't wait to see what she does next. There's not a lot of credits here. I mean, some things that I've just never heard of. Um, there's things I've just never heard of, and so uh, what she has coming up next. When you look at her IMDb credits, you just see previous. I can't find anything upcoming yet for her as a director. I can't wait. I hope that there's not a big delay on that because I think the director has an amazing insight, and the script and the directing has such. I mean, the visuals are amazing, not just the body horror and the sci-fi. I mean, excuse me, the special effects are real special effects; they're not computer. Guys, it's if you can stomach this movie, I think it's phenomenal. It has a lot to say, but it's a good horror movie. Like it doesn't disappoint. You know, the final act is phenomenal, and you know how hard it is for a horror movie to have a great final act. I mean, it just lands. It really does, and you don't see it coming. I had ideas that maybe like a third woman would appear, but I didn't expect the monstrosity. So if you can handle body horror, if you're open for social commentary that is not dialogue hammy, you know, when you have social commentary and they just tell you everything, it's just not enjoyable. But when you watch it play out in a narrative, it's much more powerful. And I think that's what helped The Substance like really, really connect. So, friends, I'm going to recommend it to you. Again, you gotta like gore, you gotta like body horror, you gotta like a horror movie has something to say. It's got some fun in it, it really does. It's not just heavy, heavy, heavy. So great recommendation, friends. Check it out. And also, we've got some interviews coming up soon. We've got some other podcast hosts. We've got some authors, some good things coming up. So, friends, thanks for tuning in. The show is growing. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks so much. Bye bye.